اللي هو حجم السكان في كل منطقة أو تعداد السكاني في كل منطقة. في أي صورة بتتضح عنا اللي هي المستوطنات الإسرائيلية في المنطقة. طبعا قبل 7 من أكتوبر كان يوجد 7 مستوطنات موزعة ضمن المنطقة جيم. ما بعد 7 من أكتوبر تم إنشاء 8 بؤر استيطانية جديدة في هذه المنطقة. إذا نطلع على الخارطة عندنا اللي هي المناطق باللون الأصفر اللي هي المستوطنات القديمة. طبعا إذا بنلاحظ توزيع المستوطنات كان الهدف منه يكون بالشكل هيك عشان يفصل المنطقة الجنوبية بالكامل للسيطرة على باقي الأراضي. باللون الأحمر اللي هي البؤر الاستيطانية الجديدة. طبعا منطقة الدراسة تعرضت للعديد من المشاكل والانتهاكات الإسرائيلية. طبعا جميع الأرقام الموجودة هنا هي أرقام لحد فترة الدراسة. هذه الأرقام اليوم زادت بشكل كبير. يعني تم إنشاء 8 بؤر استيطانية، 80% من الأراضي الرعوية تم السيطرة عليها، 70% من المحاصيل الزراعية تم رعيها، 60% من الطرق تم منع الناس من استخدامها، 18 كيلومتر من شبكات المياه تم تقطيعها. أنا مضطر أقرأهم لأن المعلومات كلها مهمة كثير، كل رقم يعني بيحكي عن قصة. سيطر على 3 عيون مياه من أصل 5. آبار تجميع المياه 32 بئر مياه تم وضع يد عليه، أما باقي الآبار تم وضع فيها مياه ضارة وأصبحت غير قابلة للاستخدام. 800 متر سياج أرضي تم سرقته، سرقة 6 أنظمة خلايا شمسية، 40 خزان مياه تم سرقتها، تقطيع 12,000 متر من شبكات الري الأشجار والمحاصيل الزراعية، سرقة الحيوانات والمركبات وسرقة الخيم، الاعتداء على المدارس والمساجد والعيادات والمنتزهات. طبعا هذه الأعداد برضو زادت لن تبقى كما هي عليه. ونتيجة منع السكان من البناء في هذه المناطق فلجأ السكان إلى هو السكن في الكهوف. يعني يوجد كهوف مأهولة بالسكان. مع هيك تم السيطرة على 12 كهف في هذه المناطق. هاي الصور من منطقة الدراسة. طبعا تقدروا تبحثوا على الانترنت مليء بالصور الكارثية. هاي صور بتوضح الاعتداءات. طبعا الاعتداءات بتعرض لها السكان هي من جهتين، من الجيش الإسرائيلي ومن قطعان المستوطنين بحماية الجيش الإسرائيلي. من هدم للبيوت، قطع الأشجار. يعني اليوم في عنا شيء جديد بتعاملوا فيه اللي هو الاستيطان الرعوي. بتوجه فيها مستوطن مع قطيع من الأغنام للسيطرة على مجموعة كبيرة من الأراضي. في هاي الخارطة بتبين عنا اللي هي المناطق اللي حاول السكان التوجه إليها. طبعا النسبة ليست بالعالية. عندنا 4 تجمعات سكانية اللي هي خالة المي والكرمل ويطا وبيت عمرة اللي هي مناطق واقع في منطقة 1000 ومنطقة باء. من مبدأ أنها أكثر أمانا، لكن الاحتلال الإسرائيلي لم يبقى إلا مناطق 1000 ولا باء، وكله يعني أصبح واقع تحت الاعتداءات اليومية. بخصوص الدراسة تبين معنا أنه سبب النزوح للسكان من المناطق هاي اللي هو الهجمات العسكرية، الاعتداءات اليومية من المستوطنين. حسب منطقة الدراسة اللي أجريتها تبين عندي اللي هو عدد النازحين يقدر 13%. هذا بنحكي احنا عن منطقة الدراسة فقط. في مناطق في الضفة الغربية الأعداد فيها عالية بشكل كبير. لكن مع التواصل مع سكان هذه المناطق يعني الجميع أصر على أنه مهما زادت هذه الاعتداءات نحن صامدون وباقون على هذه الأرض. بخصوص الاستجابة الدولية والمحلية لم تكن الاستجابة كما هو مطلوب. ممكن تكون السبب اللي هو الضغوطات الإسرائيلية على الجهات الدولية. وشكرا. قصرت شوي عشان الوقت.
Thank you. We still have 1 or 2 minutes, so if your 10-minute time. So if anyone had a question or a comment, you are very welcome. Just for 1 or 2 minutes. It could be to both speakers, yeah.
Thank you. I had a question to Mr. Kazemi. are the land laws unified in Yemen? Because the southern Yemen used to be socialist, well, at least officially, and they had different laws probably in the north. Did they manage to unify these laws? And the other issue is the Muhammashin category of population. Who are these Muhammashin? How can you define them? And maybe my final remark is that when you go around the streets in Aden, do you have specially protected cars? Because there I guess that the conflicts can end with weapons. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll just take one more comment and then it'll be a very brief answer, Muslim.
Yeah. As usual, I always have to be brief.
Yes, thank you so much. Actually, I have two reflective quick points regarding, maybe the context in Palestine is very unique. It's totally different from so many other areas in other parts of the world. The land is not under the control of the Palestinians, who are the owners of this land. They are not over the control even the soil, the land, in some cases the housing. And if those have the house, they are not feeling that they are secure, that this house will continue for next month or next week. So we are talking about land management process approach for those who are not owning this land. So that is, I don't know how we are going to deal with this important, big challenge. And maybe you remember, Jim, we discussed this in our HLB cluster meetings. So that's continued a challenge. I think hopefully today, maybe in the coming days, we will have a kind of more reflective answers, indicative that could help us in the future in such unique status. And in the heart of this, I think we need to remember the root causes of all these challenges and the problems, which is the occupation simply, and building more stable situation and just peaceful situation and context. I think that's the yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Muslim, just 30 seconds in response. Thank you for those comments. That's really important.
Thanks. Okay, so in principle, there is a united legal system that is already formed by when the government was united. But unfortunately now we have a de facto area authorities, or the Houthis controlled area, which also often they don't obey to the legal system that they exist. And then also the recognized international authorities who go through and respect the land laws. But the question is whether they are implementing the current laws. That's the challenge we're facing. The law exists, but basically is not implemented. So this is the real challenge that we are facing in the legal system. In terms of Muhammashin, there is a minority which is comprised around, I think, 10% of the total nation in Yemen, who are discriminated. Usually they face a lot of problems with also the legal identity and recognition of as a Muhammashin or as a minority. Often they are originated from the south, and they are always subject to discrimination in terms of any kind of legal system approaches, including identity, land rights, or other, let's say, political rights. It's something that the political aspect we don't work and we don't interfere on that, but we try to evidence their violations in order to document their HLP rights. It's a big community that faces these challenges. It's around 10% of the total nation, so it's quite big. And if I can be quickly on how in the field we work, basically our successful story is that we hire our field staff from the community, who basically don't face any issues in terms of going in the field. But we as an international community, we have to be equipped with armored vehicles and be quite protocoled, and in a way we become very useless to go there. So often we avoid this kind of visits, except our field and team leaders who goes to monitor and inspect the work. But most of the work is done by our team who are successful in this. Thanks.
Thanks, Muslim. Thanks for the questions and comment. Mahmoud, did you want a brief comment? Did you want to make a brief comment in response? Just very, very brief. Very brief.
Mike, please. Mike, please. gentleman is not using a mic. Mic, please. The mic isn't working. The mic isn't working. The gentleman is not using a functioning mic.
So just if
السبب الرئيسي في الحالة الفلسطينية، وهي حالة فريدة في العالم كله، يعني بنحكي عن كل بقاع الكون والأرض. لهم دول، لهم مجتمعاتهم، بس ما عندهمش احتلال. احنا في كل شيء، لكن في احتلال بيسيطر على كل هذه الريسورسز وبسكر على الناس في غزة وفي الضفة وفي القدس وبالتالي يعني منكد عيشة هذه المنطقة وأهلها وسلطتها وحكومتها وبلديتها ووزارتها. ففيش شيء بهذه الفكرة.
القرن ال21 وما زال في شعب يعني واقع تحت احتلال، وقد يكون هو السبب الرئيسي لكل المشاكل الموجودة في فلسطين بخصوص موضوع إدارة الأراضي. احنا اليوم حكيت الأستاذ علاء تميم امبارح رئيس وكالة الأراضي انه مزبوط في تحديات كبيره، في 900 بوابه حديديه اليوم بالضفه الغربيه، 900 لانه جهود الموجود والمبذوله تحاول قدر الامكان التغلب على التحديات قدر الامكان. يعني المشكله اللي لازم نحط ايدنا عليها وسببها اللي هو الاحتلال، ورغم هيك يعني بنحاول قدر الامكان نحصل شيء موجود على أرض الواقع، يعني ثبات وصمود الشعب الفلسطيني.
Sorry, we just have to move on because of the other presenters. Sorry. So now I'm pleased to welcome Haya Al-Asha from Khan Yunis municipality. Please, 10 minutes, and I'll wave at you when there's 2 minutes.
Thank you. This is Haya Al-Agha from Khan Yunis municipality, the director of economic and investment unit. So today I will present the situation of land under the war of the Gaza Strip, or the genocide actually. We will start our presentation with a quick brief about what are the contents of the presentation. So we will start talking. Can you just put the presentation on? Or I can start? Okay. So we will talk about the situation of lands, housing properties, displaced communities, and the host communities within the dominant of the local authorities in the Khan Yunis governorate. And also then we will move to the practical application and tools which are used for land housing. Okay, like this. It's the same problem. Okay, you can just do it for me. So, and then we will talk about the context of wars and it works. The context of the wars and disaster, and after that we will move to the conclusion. So, okay, next. Can I, is it, it's not next, okay. Okay. Now, the situation of the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip is the part of the occupied Palestinian territories. It's one of the most densely populated areas in the world, with 5,500 inhabitants in square kilometer. The annual population growth is about 3%, and Khan Yunis governorate is the largest governorate in the Gaza Strip in terms of area. So the situation, overview of the situation and vision. Now actually Gaza Strip continue to face challenges. Those challenges are related to the conflict and the legal complexities and the resource constraints at the same time. We are living in a siege since like 17 years. So it's ongoing siege and it's ongoing war actually, whether it's on land or not on land. The integration of HLP consideration into broader humanitarian and development planning networks. Actually, our main work or our main strategy in Khan Younis municipalities and even in the all of the Gaza Strip municipalities is to have an SDIB, Strategic Development Implementation Plan. The HLP are embedded in each SDIPs. The common goals of each SDIPs is to have a sustainable development, job creation, resilience, climate adaptation, public participation, and urban management. All of these goals are combined into one strategic plan. The land allocation for different uses are already also are present in each SDIP, whether it's an agriculture, residential, and other kind of public spaces, the culture, and so on. And also we are talking about the disaster resiliency plans because we actually are living in a situation of disaster most of the time. So the population of Khan Younis was like 450,000 inhabitants before October 7, and after that it became 1,500,000. Why? Because Khan Younis was considered as the humanitarian area, which were assigned by the Israeli forces, and people of different Gaza Strip areas are already internally displaced into this humanitarian area, especially in an area which is called El Mawasi. El Mawasi, this area is considered as a fragmented area, and it was a vulnerable one. Okay, so it's only 8,000 square kilometer. It's considered as an agriculture neighborhood, and most of lands are considered as private properties, which are owned by people, not the government. It was occupied until the unilateral withdrawal in 2005, so it didn't take any development or moves or improvement. Like if we can talk about the services, the wastewater networks was less than 1%, the same for roads, lighting, and water networks. So we are talking about an area which is totally vulnerable one. So now, after the situation ends, I hope that it can be ended soon. After the ceasefire, from 0 to 3 months, what shall we do? Okay, what are the expectation from the local authorities, from municipalities, and also at the same time from the local communities to provide a technical support intervention which is focused on the rubble removal management. It's very important to know where to put this rubble. Can we just put it on the sea, or how we can reuse it again or not? This is a very important issue. And also to address IDP, informal human settlements and collective centers. Those people, where they are going to go, they don't have their own houses, and all of their places are now not considered good for living. So where shall they go? Okay. Support establishing of resorting system for documentation and registration. It's very important to document, and it's good to be mentioned, or I will mention it later about the documentation in the Gaza Strip. Now from 3 to 6 months, we will prioritize the facilitation of legal assistance of HLP rights, and also promote integration to diligence activities, effort through influencing donors and having technical support in order to enhance our works. Then we have to, after recovery, the small period of recovery, and I hope it could be small, we have to build back better. How can we build back better? We have to know what are the considerations that we can assist in the reconstitution again, the land surveys, the support. This is the techniques that will be used in building back better. The challenge we face is the land ownership right. It's really a big challenge, especially we are living in places that, as the minister yesterday said, or the chairman of the land authority, he mentioned that the land and even the colleagues that the land is not registered in a legal way due to some traditions. The land surveying, it's very important for us. In Khan Younis, we have like 80% of the city are totally surveyed, which is good. The transitional housing solution, where people should live before moving to their own newly built houses. And also, okay, let's move to this, the urban planning. Over the past years, okay, well, it's dismissed. Okay. Okay, in the urban planning, yes, over the past years, we tried to have a good methodology for urban planning to be integrated into all our plans, and even to enforce some organization or some societies before building for people to have a permission from the municipality so that it can work good. What's the methodology we are going to use? We talked about the survey records of LHP. Then we will have a steering committee. It's very important to ensure the participatory approach of different public-private partnership of the ministry, the protected cluster, the different NGOs, and the PLA. So, and also, what are the data analysis tools we will be use? It will be QGIS and Google Earth, and we will use the Kobo toolbox, Kobo Collect toolbox. Those are open resource data. It will be easier for us to open, okay? And then the quality, how can we assure our quality? It will be through the reliability, transparency of information, and the geographical coverage. Finally, the scenario development, which we will reach by the end of this methodology, is to have the rights of them. Now, the tools which are used, they are the Kobo toolbox. Generally or quickly, it's a data collection for land management and ownership. It's a valuable tool for offline data, because in the Gaza Strip and Khan Younis, we might face some issues related to the internet, and having online tools. The QGIS and the same one as the Google Earth engines, all of them are open resources, and it can be used in data analysis. As a conclusion, I will be very quick, yes. We have to, in order to conclude all of this approach, we have to adapt a comprehensive approach of the disaster plans, disaster rebuilding plans, and the climate adaptation to ensure the community participation, including in e-recovery and even Build Back Better. In SDIPs, if starting from the scratch until we reach the end, we have to focus on the stakeholder engagement and the community participation. Also, to promote inclusivity, we have to focus on the vulnerable groups. We have to focus on women, girls, children, youth, and even the people with disabilities. I guess Gaza Strip now is the largest one with people with disabilities. And finally, we have to protect our public spaces. Okay, before this, we have to protect our public spaces to be accessible to all stakeholders, and not to put our hand on it and make some tents, put tents there, and we can't prevent people from going there. The land ownership, and I want to focus on the last one, which is the most important recommendation for our preliminary study, is to equip for effective land management.
Do you hear me?
What?
It's okay, carry on.
Okay, to ensure the provision of necessary equipment that will significantly contribute to resolving the land management crisis after the genocide. We can use a mobile surveying office that can be established, and it will be equipped with surveying devices like drone and GPS tools, equipment for surveying purpose, server, and so on. This is the most important one, and this is all. I hope that I was on time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aya. Thank you for your flexibility, everyone. Yes, and again, hearing more examples of the challenges and difficulties working with these different and interacting legal systems, and how HLP issues kind of really run underneath both the kind of crisis and emergency response, but also in the longer term planning. But thank you, Haya. We're now going to turn online to our colleague Ola Hatoum, who is joining us from Syria. She's the Regional Plans Manager and also a researcher with the Beijing Jiatong University. Ola, can you hear us okay?
Morning, good morning.
Okay.
I am here too.
Okay,
Hello.
Ola. Good, and welcome. So you have 10 minutes, and After 8 minutes, I'll get your attention somehow, just so you know. But over to you.
صباح الخير اسمحوا لي احكي بالعربي لكون اقرب شوي.
Good morning. Allow me to speak in Arabic to be close to my audience. I am Ola Hatom from Syria, and I am doing a master's in China, and also I have a master's in Syria in environment planification, and my study research is about the environmental recovery in Syria after war.
اوكي.
It's great. We see it well. Thank you.
So I worked for a time with at the University of Damascus, and I was in the commission of about the use of land. So why did I choose this topic? What are the challenges in Syria, and what are the most important recommendations that we can deduce from the conference? As we say, is the land management is really the power and the authority that everybody is fighting over, and after the crisis, it is the main element to establish a civilization, to recover the identity that we are aiming. So this thinking makes us put us in a question, in front of question of how. So we wanted to do simulation of a future with all the challenges that Syria is nowadays living. As we may know, as we know that Syria has a strategic location linking the three continents, and on 185,000 kilometers square, and with the immigration flows, we have a population of 25 million. The capital is Damascus, and my main message is and what we do using the technology in China. As you know, China is pioneer of mathematics and AI, so it gives us an added value in how to deal with lands in a logical and mathematical way, more than just theoretical planification. So the vision from this research is how to apply these futuristic models and on a changing environment, especially in Syria. Why do we need this way of thinking? Because Syria has witnessed many crises and conflict and demographical change, earthquake, all of the natural and unnatural catastrophes. We witnessed them in Syria, so that's why we have to adapt a new vision with a specific element in order to ensure the right transitions, because we still have some old models, and that creates a pressure on the natural resources and also the slums and illegal occupation of land. So taking into consideration all the main factors and the main elements that influence our society, the affected element is land. If it is very weakness economically or environmentally, is the land. The land that we owe is the first one to react to any crisis or change. So let's have a quick look about the challenges that we have in Syria, in addition to the international challenges in terms of changing and resources limitation. Syria is trying to come back to the world scene. In addition to that, we see a lot of changes in Syria and the challenges that have accumulated, like the demographic change, which is not stable, and also the great distractions and the lack of public services, and even institutional and efficient work and coordination between the different institutions and stakeholders on the field. So that's why such a study is very important in terms of managing the land and natural resources, in order to make from these terms a changing point, and also to make it possible and to turn the weaknesses to strength and to a starting point, and to make all that as a background of recovery, as we all wish for Syria. So we have to concentrate on land management as land spatial balance, land management, and sustainable recovery. And this is a right for the generation to keep the resources. So, if we think on thinking between all these three elements in Syria, what we are lacking now is the land justice, or because we have many lost documents, many houses destroyed. So it's the biggest disaster. It's the biggest disaster on ownership and land ownership and civilization, and that really impacted on our identity.
2 minutes, Ola. 2 minutes.
So,
2 minutes. Thanks.
how can we benefit from all the lessons and the methodology that we worked on? Is the accumulated or the complementary solutions between administration, and how can we also benefit from all the available data existing in the internet? We have a weakness in the Arab states. There is a lack of data, and we cannot work from or on unified data in order to reach a very close analysis to reality. So, analyzing the recent decades from 2000 to 2024, the most impacted place which is affected is the agricultural farm that is still witnessing conflict. So there is a huge change in lands, less forests, and also lands that became unfit to farm, and also lands that were transformed, and Syria lost many green lands and became without identity. And this is a spatial look from satellite, and how we can get data from
Ola,
the
I'm
main.
afraid it's time now. So if you just want to say one last
The
thing,
main
please. Thank you.
process that I want to focus on is is how can we create scenarios from the CI model. As planners, we put three alternatives, and we go for the better or the best model, and it's a machine learning system that by the data input and the criteria, they give you the best model of governance in Syria, and also the roles between Syrian authorities to better use or manage the lands. And the last point that we have to focus on is to use the